I'm at the Friendsgiving. Yeah. I know you can hear the children's. The children's in the place.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, bro. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. The topic is gonna be juicy today.
Yo, bro. Yeah, man. Listen, ever since yesterday, um, it's just been on my mind, man. Like, especially that part about where we block abundance,
Mm.
like that piece, man. Well, yeah, like, are we sharing our abundance and what's blocking it? That's the
hmm
piece that got me, man. I was like, dang, man.
Well, from the looks of where you at right now, bro, I think you
Yeah.
modeling the sharing abundance right now.
Yes, sir, bro. Listen, this is like this spot. There's kids, there's the dogs here. Like, look, this is like Bella chilling. Look at you. What's up, Bella? She's chilling. Bella, dog. What's up, Nico? Yeah, all the children's all the kids up in here. Yeah, look at you. Hey, trying to get on my video here, man. Whoa. What are you doing, man? You got the fresh frames too, man. You got the fresh frames.
Yeah.
Carter trying to get in here too. Look, Carter getting. Hold up. Hold up. Yeah, see Carter getting in here. What up,
Yeah. You got the
Carter?
whole crew.
Fresh cardigan. Cardigan. Yeah. He got the fresh cardigan on too, boy. He got the fresh glasses.
I got a yo-yo. Look, I got a yo-yo.
Yeah, look at that.
Everybody look at me. I got a yo-yo.
See, this is Friendsgiving at its finest, man.
Right. The sharing of
That's
abundance.
what's up, man. Listen, man, and there it is. And there it is, bro.
There's now I ate turkey and rice today.
Yeah.
Rice was nice. With ice and the rice and then rice and we don't like rice. We like rice. We don't
This
like
guy.
rice.
Okay, got you, Nico. Got you, man. Go ahead with your funky dance. Go ahead, man. That's bananas. Hey, Jermaine, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can you
you,
hear
bro.
me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Fresh.
Uh,
Yeah, man.
yeah, Michael Taylor's having some trouble getting in, so let me shoot him the link real quick.
We may be trying to get on the last one.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
All right, guys, I got you, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. You good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go in the car for this one, bro. Love the children and everything.
I see, bro.
So-
what we looking like on the live? We got how many?
So we got one person on live. What's up, Warrior Kings? We got Andrew Mann. Andrew Mann's in the building.
No doubt.
Andrew, what's up, bro? Yeah, man. So this was interesting, man. This question about abundance, man, is like I'm curious. Like as people are chiming in, like what does abundance mean?
Yeah, I got you, bro. I know you working with a lot of abundance right now, man. And I know Andrew Mann is somewhere cracking up right now. Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, the kids loving it. Like, yeah, the conversation's abundance, Chris. So it's beautiful, bro. There he is. There's Coach.
What do you do when it's too much abundance, bro? What happens when it's too much?
Is that a situation though?
I'm asking you.
It's so it's interesting, man. Like the first thing that's coming to mind is being willing to receive what I perceive as too much abundance. You know what I mean? Like being willing to like, yo, these are guys like we've been in a circle for a long time, and like these are their families. So it's like that in itself is being able to receive like that amount of abundance and love and support and just like energy. Man, it's powerful, man. It's like it's a little uncomfortable for me to be frank.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to step into it. You know what I mean? That's the piece.
So I'm gonna take
Yeah.
you back to your weekend real quick, right? So, on the weekend, we talk about those moments when, our dads were too busy, right? We talk about those moments when it was all about what the parents needed to do while neglecting what the youngins needed, right? And as new warriors, as grown men, finding the balance in between, right? So I ask you if it's too much, because really it's about perspective, right? So what does that mean, too much? Am I too busy for you? Right? Is this work I'm doing more important than the bonding session I'm happening at the same time? Right? And how do I mix the two where I can get the best of both worlds? And you're actually modeling that right now. Because in my judgment, there can't be one person watching this now that's going, I wish he'd get rid of those kids. Most people are going, wow, look at how happy they are. Look at how he's not, hey man, get out of here. I'm on a YouTube live. I'm trying to be super, professional with, nah, bro, this is family and life happens no matter what it is we doing, bro. So it's beautiful to really pull in the abundance being too much, the abundance being I want more and I don't currently have it, and how do I work towards getting it? And simply just understanding and being in the present moment, that there is more than one thing going on at the same time, and that to me is the beautiful balance of life, bro. So thank you for being where you at and showing us where you at even during live, bro. What's up, Coach Michael Taylor?
What's up,
Coach Taylor.
What's up, fellas?
Yeah,
I see my man Jermaine dropping those wisdom nuggets this afternoon.
man. So just because you chimed in a little late, Coach, we jumped on. The topic is abundance. And P is over there with doing a Friendsgiving, right? It's a lot of kids. It's a lot of energy. The dog is running around. It's so much love and energy moving around. And it was like, yo, and he's on live. So he's not trying to hide none of it. He's showing us everything. So I asked him, what happens when it's too much abundance, bro? And that's when you just came in, when we were talking about that. So what you think, man? What's going on in your head?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is making the distinction about what abundance really is. I know for myself, I used to think abundance was about stuff outside of me. How much money I had in the bank, what kind of car I might drive, what kind of stuff I might have. And that to me, if I had more stuff, I thought I was abundant. But after 25 years of this work and getting to know who Coach Michael Taylor really is, abundance has absolutely nothing to do with anything outside of me now. Abundance to me is waking up every morning and looking at the woman who I love laying next to me and knowing that she loves me. That's abundance. That's abundance. Abundance to me is when my kids call me up and say, Dad, I just want to call and tell you I love you. I mean, to me, that's true abundance. Now, at the same time, I'm all about making money. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about making money and having stuff. Nothing wrong with having stuff. But true abundance, I believe, is more of a feeling than a having. It's something that resonates from within me. And when I feel whole and happy with who I am as a human being, then I can accept all abundance in all forms. But I have to be willing to be in a place where I'm happy with me. I'm not operating from, I used to operate from a place what I'll call emotional scarcity, meaning I was a people pleaser and I was always trying to get people to like me because of the stuff that I had. Right? So it wasn't until I did my inner work, got whole and complete within myself, that I could feel truly abundant.
Hey, Coach, man, damn, that was deep. And I'm curious, like when you say it's a feeling, what is that feeling though?
See,
Like,
and
where are you feeling that, bro? Like, tell me more about that.
that it's like, for me, it's joy, it's contentment, it's I'm enough. It's just an inner knowing that I'm enough. And that's where the abundance comes from, just knowing that I'm enough just as I am. And that feeling, again, it really, if I really dig down in it, it's a feeling of joy that I'm authentic in who I am.
Thank you for that, bro. Thank you. Yeah, I asked the question because, again, we say words in our culture. And I think it's important as men of color and men, what is that feeling though? What does that mean? Like, I was talking to someone about this today where, there's a call for men to be more emotionally intelligent, emotionally literate. And I'm like, wait, do we understand like what things that we say actually even feel like or mean? Well, hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Nah, hold up, man. It's Friendsgiving, man. Hold up. Good to see you. Yes, indeed. Yeah, man. So I think that's important, man. I think that's so important. Andrew Mann said, "Do you have joy in your life, and what is the evidence?" Wow.
The evidence.
Damn.
See, again, but see, the evidence for me is the feeling. It is not something that I can really relate in words.
Right.
I can try, but
Yeah.
there was a time in my life. Are you guys familiar with John Bradshaw, the therapist John Bradshaw, who he used to
No.
do? He was well known. He had a TV show. He was big on Oprah, but he was one of the leading proponents of inner child work. Okay. He wrote a book called Healing the Shame That Binds You. That was the book. And when I read that book, it actually clarified everything for me, because in his book, he used the term toxic shame. And while reading that book, what I recognized was most of my life, that's what I was driven by. I was driven by this deep feeling of toxic shame, which was driven because of a belief that I was unlovable, I was unworthy, I just wasn't good enough. So that feeling was, I was always trying to compensate for that feeling of shame. And so I had to be willing to go in and heal that. And I did a 3-day weekend workshop with him. And you men know that if you can feel it, you can heal it. And I allow myself to feel years and years of suppressed pain and hurt, which was driving that toxic shame that I felt. And so in healing that, allowing myself to release that shame, that's how I became free.
Deep, bro. Deep. Now, this question and the way Andrew posed that question, bro, is like, what is the evidence? That was the piece that struck me the hardest, was what was the evidence, right? So let me tell you what's coming up for me around this. Is that throughout my life, joy was never the go-to emotion for me. It was almost like if I showed any of it, it showed vulnerability side by side, like they were mutually exclusive, right? So it's like, oh, this guy's too happy. He must be finish the sentence, right? It could be anything, a good person I could steal from, beat up, just get over on. It was that kind of like narrative that I held on to. And then as I got older and I realized that joy, just like all of the other emotions, I need to first be able to claim it, like to actually say it out loud, and oftentimes when I first started doing this work, man, A man would say, what am I feeling? And even though it was joy, I would say other things that were kind of dancing around joy. I would never actually say the word joy. I'd say everything else. I'm excited, you know, all of these other words that are kind of hinting towards it, but never that. And so to speak to the piece around what is the evidence of it, right? It's like, for me today, when I look at it today, it's different from what it was when I was a little bit younger, because the evidence of joy when I was younger was, you know, bottling, hiding, putting it behind the armor. And I could always tell because I'd be happy and I'd be suppressing, I'd be repressing it, pushing it all the way back in, right? And now today, I noticed a couple of things that happen when I'm in joy, right? First, I'm fully present in whatever the moment is. That's the first piece of self-awareness, is that I actually recognize that I'm in that space, right? Then what ends up happening is I ask myself to make a choice at that moment, right? Like, bro, can you enjoy this? Like, I know you got a million other things that you got to do. I'm talking to myself in my head. You got a million things you got to do. You got work, you got this, you got that. And these are things that you constantly worry about. But can you just for this moment, frame in life, just allow this moment to be, right? And then once I give myself the permission to do it, like to just actually be, that's when I know that I'm in the joy. That's when I know, that's where the evidence is, right? Is in my acceptance of it and giving myself permission to physically, emotionally, and mentally just be there. Because a lot of times it actually shows up as being overwhelmed too. Because instead of me seeing the joy in the experience I'm in, I'm putting the kids and the cooking and the cleaning and the having company on top of, I got to order this equipment on Monday. I've got to take care of this business. And so it appears at first as being overwhelmed until I breathe in. And you know how we do in the work. We take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath. Where am I? Okay, I'm in this moment. Is it okay to just be here? And then once I do, bro, that's the evidence right there. Just the being.
Damn, that's potent, because for me, as I'm hearing you talk, as I'm hearing what you're saying, Jermaine, I'm thinking about all the times when I've had experiences of joy and happiness and how quick I am to transition from it. It's like, oh, I can't stay here that long. It's like, or something's gonna happen, or this is gonna happen, and I think even as like growing up, like, and coach, I know you said this before, like, you know, being happy and whatnot. People be like, "What you so happy about, man?" It's like, what? Why are you always smiling? It's like, damn. It's almost like, is this wrong to smile and to do these things? And I think abundance is the same way, right? It's like, it's joy. There is a joy there. Like, it's beyond finances and houses and cars. It's like there's a joy and freedom in it. And I think that there's a lack of being able to really settle into that and explore what is the evidence of it. What is truly the evidence of abundance for each man, for a man? Like, is it a sense of freedom? Is it a sense of whatever it is? Because, you know, a friend of mine said something to me the other day, man. My man Stan, bless up to you. I was telling him, I was like, you know, going into the new year, I said, I want to make more money in my job. And he was like, okay, for what? And I was like, well, because. He was like, because what? Like, he's like, what are you really going to do with more money then? Like, have you ever thought about that? Or are you just saying it because, like, you think that's what you're supposed to say? And it actually had me just, like, in a space like, damn, Stan, thanks for that, man. Because it had me recognize the ways that I am abundant, the ways that I already have abundance, and also being mindful of, like, what I already have. Because if I fail to be mindful of that, then, like, whatever more I get, I'm gonna fail to appreciate it anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So that's a deep question, man. That's deep. Yeah. So Andrew, bro, you got some good questions. We're gonna have you on here, man, next week, because you going in with all this stuff, man. The second question he had is, has your life brought joy to others? What's the evidence of that? And what facts support that belief? Ooh, man. Yikes.
Andrew like his facts, bro.
Loves the facts, bro. He loves the facts.
The
But
evidence.
Paul, let me back
Loves
up
it.
a little bit. Let me back up a little bit, because I think this is important. You guys know me. My nickname is Michael Happy Ass Taylor, right? And as you were saying earlier, a lot of people would say, well, why are you smiling all the time? I gave a presentation once, all men. And the presentation was living with joy. That was the presentation. After the presentation, this guy comes up to me. Matter of fact, they were all white. I was the only brother in the whole room. White guy comes up to me. He says, I don't trust you. I said, what? He said, I don't trust you. I said, why not? He said, because you smile too much. He said, my daddy taught me never trust a man who smiles all the time. Never trust a man who smiles all the time. And so I looked at him. I said, okay, I get that. I hear that. I said, now, are you saying that you see me as untrustworthy just because I smile a lot? Absolutely. That's what my daddy taught me. And I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, do you really think it's possible that a man could be happy and still be trustworthy? I don't think so. I don't think so. I said, well, here's the thing. And I had shared throughout my presentation all the stuff I had been through. My divorce, my bankruptcy, I'd shared all that in the presentation. And I asked him, I said, now, when I was going through all of that, I wasn't smiling. I was in a lot of pain, and I was able to heal that pain to be in this place where I am right now, where I feel joy most of the time. And I guarantee you, you can do the same. But it starts with your willingness to accept the fact that you have this belief that men who smile are untrustworthy. And until you change that belief, you're never going to allow yourself to smile, because you're going to see yourself as untrustworthy. And boy, his little motor started turning. He started thinking about it. And I said, so again, the whole point of my presentation was to challenge you to know it is possible for you to feel joy. Your question you should ask yourself is, what are you doing that's keeping you from feeling your joy? And I saw this guy transform in front of my eyes. And what I mean by that was, he really got it. He really allowed it, what I was saying, to sink in. And he realized that the reason he hadn't felt joy was because he didn't allow himself to. And after that presentation, after the whole conversation, he said, man, thank you. He said, you've given me an entirely different way to look at joy as a man. It was powerful. It was a powerful, powerful conversation.
Yeah, dude, it sounds it. And Andrew Miz hit it right on the head. He said the guy you approached, who approached you, was stuck in his prison of false beliefs about someone that smiles.
Absolutely. If we were to sum everything up that we're talking about doing this work, if you go down deep, it's all about beliefs. And most importantly, most of the negative beliefs we have arise from an idea that we aren't good enough. Somewhere in there, we have a belief we're not good enough, we're not lovable. When we go deep, that's where we usually end up.
Yeah, and not only that, man, but also other people's beliefs of themselves, right? So that belief he took on was not his own making, That was something that somebody said to him
His
that
dad
transformed him in the same way you just transformed him, right?
Mhm.
And so we go through these stages of reevaluating those limiting beliefs that we carry, right? Which is actually the cornerstone of what men's work is getting, grown up 40-year-old me to go back and look at all those messages I picked up from 6-year-old me, 7-year-old me, all the way up to 40-year-old me, and just simply say, two things. A, is it working for you? Is it yielding for you in your life what you desire, right? If the answer is no, then if the answer is no, then the next question is, what needs to happen for you to be able to change that belief? And for most people, when you pose it in a way like that, even if they don't know right off the rip, like right there in the moment, because some of those questions took me years to process until it finally hit me what the answer to that is. Sometimes I have resistance to doing it because once I do it, then what? Right? It's kind of that success, that success shadow where it's like, damn, if I succeed, and then what? Am I able to keep that up? Am I able to continue to do that? So it's even scary, even contemplating, what if I actually am successful at this? Then what? So it kind of it really does go back into the belief system that I carry that I'm unaware at the moment is actually driving the bus, is actually informing the decisions that I'm making as a grown man, even though the belief was taken on when I was 6 years old. And we talked about this during the first live when I forget the lady's name, Ebony Q, said, about going back and healing that piece, right? It's the same kind of situation. It's about looking at what the limiting beliefs are. And before I can look at it, I have to figure out that it's there first, right? Because most of us are operating on beliefs we don't even know is there. And then once we identify them, we can bring them out and go, hey, man, take a look at this. Is this working for me? Is it serving me in some kind of way? And if it's not, as a 40-year-old man, as a 50-year-old man, as a 60-year-old man, I can make a different choice. As a 20-year-old man, if I figure that out, I can make a different choice. So that's deep, bro. That's deep. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You hit on something, man, because I think there's, and I'm unsure as to what's the the base or the root of this. But I think it's that whether maybe it's conditioning or whatever, there's a lack of even understanding that we have these beliefs that are shaping our reality, because it can be something so ingrained, so insidious that we think that's what it is. Like, like if I see somebody smiling, then I can't trust them, right? Like they're like, it becomes so conditioned on us that's what life is. And I think it's the same for abundance, because when I look at, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. It was like Nima or something, but and I shared it in the BKC WhatsApp. But this guy was talking about like how we as the black community failed to follow the clues of the black billionaires. And it was like when he said that, there was this dissonance for me. I'm like, damn, there's black billionaires. Like almost like I didn't believe it. But it was like, no, man, there's billionaires with us just like with anybody else. You know what I mean? And I had to, when I started looking up these men and women, I started looking at like, okay, well, how did they do this? And then it started like how coach changed that man's mind. It started changing my mindset. Like, dang, like regardless of the background that we have, like we can all be abundant. But the thing is like, what's the story that we have about abundance? Like, what's even the definition of abundance? Is it only, are we thinking that it's only in money? And yeah, that's a part of it. But are we also thinking like, hey, it's friendships, it's the support that we have, it's the friend, you know what I think we start to get to look at what are our belief systems around these things. And like Jimmy, I think you hit on the head where it's like, what is keeping us from really embracing something new, like the joy, the abundance? I think that's such a key piece. Oh, we got Ralph Sims in the house. Oh yeah. He says, "Hey Kings, I found out that a belief is a strong suspension that something, a suspension or suspicion that something is or is not true. It requires me to investigate or research on a deeper level." Yeah, man. Yeah. My man. Yo, Ralph Sims always come with the good things, man. We got the two OGs in here. The original geniuses. Um, bless up, man. And
Oh, go ahead, Paul. Finish.
yeah, go ahead, coach.
No, so if you are truly committed to examining your beliefs, I have a resource for you. How many of you have heard of a woman named Byron Katie?
Yep. Yeah, I know.
Byronkatie. Byron Katie. She has a process called the work. And that's exactly what it is. It's called the work. And it's so simple, but yet it is so profound because let me see if I can remember how it goes. She says, so here's what you do. First of all, she challenges you to write down, or what she says, judge your neighbor, write it down, ask 3 questions, turn it around. This is how the work works. So what you do is you write down on a piece of paper something or someone you have a judgment against. And I went to New York to one of her seminars. And this guy, and she processes it, with the audience, and the people walk up on stage, and she does the work with them, right? So this white guy walks up on the stage, and he wants to do the work with her, and she's masterful at this. So she says, "Okay, we're ready to do the work." And so, what's the judgment? And this guy was a racist, and he was honest about it. He had issues with black folk, and I don't remember his exact quote, but he basically said black people were just nothing, right? So when he brought up the judgment, she says, okay, so the first question is it true? That's the first part of the work. Ask the 3 questions. First question is it true? Now, your mind initially is going to go, yeah, it's true. That's my truth. Black people are worthless. And this is where the guy went, right? So she keeps digging. She keeps digging. Second question is, how do you react when you have that thought? Okay, so imagine that. So here's a guy, racist, see black people. When he's thinking all black people are worthless, how does he react? Well, he's going to be racist and he's going to not like black people, right? And then the last question was to something degree, turn it around. So in other words, what if it's not true? Okay. So this guy, he started off, you could just sense the anger and hatred he had for black people at the beginning. And she starts processing him. Now, this was probably 5 to 10 minutes, right? Because he was rigid. He's like, black people this, black people this. Now, I was the only black person in the room. He didn't see me. He didn't know I was in the room. He goes through this process and she works him. And all of a sudden you see him start softening up a little bit. Just softening up a little bit. And she keeps working him. She keeps challenging him. Is it true? And the guy you can see him, the wheels turning. And all of a sudden that dam broke. And he realized that it was just a belief he had in his head about black people. And when it hit him, floodgates. He starts sobbing. He says, oh, I've been so blind, right? So the whole audience, of course, all white people just like, wow, whatever. Well, after the event, I'm walking through the thing. The guy sees me. He didn't know I was in the room, but he comes up to me afterwards and he says, I'm sorry. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. He says, I'm sorry. I've been wrong all my life. All my life, I've carried this hatred for black people. And there was no reason for me to. I'm sorry. And those were his exact words. tears rolling down his face as he's saying this. I'm sorry. That's what he kept saying. I'm sorry. As he just looked in my eye, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I embraced him. And dude, his heart just opened. His heart just opened. And he just knew, number one, in a sense, Black people had forgiven him, kind of was the feeling I think he got. He's like, I accepted him for who he was. And he just melted. God just melted. That man's life was changed forever. But if you haven't checked out her work, just go online, just Google the work. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
I'm gonna look that up, Coach. Yeah, Byron Katie's powerful. That even that question, asking someone of their beliefs, is it true?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, damn. Especially like, bless up to him for having for having the willingness to explore that, because I think that's the basics, man. Like, that's the basis of it. Like, yo, is this really true? Andrew Mans, consider this: there are 4 levels of beliefs. This question's been coming up a lot today, but with me, belief. It's like I was asking that question here today at Friendsgiving, like, what's belief and what do you believe in? It's, dude, the belief is powerful, man. So Andrew Mans is breaking it down: 4 levels of beliefs. False beliefs is 1, flawed beliefs is 2, limiting beliefs is 3, and true beliefs 4. Very interesting. Very interesting.
So
Yep.
what's his evidence of this?
Yeah, hey, Mr. Mans, what's your evidence, man? How do you know this is true? You just come up with this when you're in the rabbit hole? What's up, man?
Yeah, let me jump in on this though, because you know, I think for the first time I'm about to push back on Andrew, right? So bro, belief is belief, right? And so the question then becomes, what makes the belief true? What's that thing that does that? What makes it flawed or false or limiting or anything? It's a personal experience, right? Because what's true is what I believe, period. Even if it's not rooted in factual evidence, right? That's why it's a belief. Now we add the adjective to differentiate, right? It's a limiting belief because it's limiting my full potential. So we add that piece on there. But make no mistake, bro, a belief is real to the person experiencing it, right? End of story, right? And so the piece I want to invite in is, instead of deconstructing it in that way, right? Because in my judgment, for me, when you give me too many of these, it allows my brain to start focusing on it. So then I don't drop into my body around what that means, right? So what I'm going to do is invite you to take a deep breath in and just feel belief, period, right? Because right now, you know, if and judging from your picture, you know, you're a pretty handsome Black man. But if I right now just said, man, you're a blonde-headed white woman, and that was truly my belief, bro. Unfortunately, I'm living in the belief, right? How many people do you know that have what we consider to be unreasonable beliefs, right? Like, I happen to know somebody that has a true fear of a spider, right? That somehow, if she gets bit by a spider, bro, it's going to take her life. Like, really that fearful, right? I don't believe that, but she actually does. She absolutely does. And so what happens is, everything that she does evolves around making sure she doesn't lose her life by getting a spider bite, right? Whether the belief is factual or made up, it is absolutely real to her 24 hours a day, right? So that's true belief, right? Whether it's limiting, false, flawed, when we get into it in that way, it prevents us from, and this is me, right? I don't know if a lot of people feel this way, but part of me integrating belief even when I want to change the belief, is I first have to honor the belief, right? I have to first look at, when was the first time I took on this belief, right? And then here's the killer question, bro. What was this belief protecting me from? Right? Because it ain't just there just to be, right? Every belief we have has a purpose. It has a real purpose in our survival as a human being. So the first thing I got to do is honor that space, right? And in some circles, we actually thank it. Thank you for keeping me alive all these years. And it's time for me to set you aside for a while, because the next leg of this journey is not appropriate for me to take you with me, right? And that's so deep, bro, to even speak it out loud in that way, to honor a belief and honor why it was in my life to begin with, and then recognize that at this stage of my life, it's not appropriate for me to take it further because it's not serving me in the way it served me at 7 or at 8, when maybe, to use Michael Taylor's example, that man's father probably got really hurt behind a man smiling at him at some point, right? So to keep his son protected, bro, listen, don't trust nobody smiling, right? The intention was probably good. But then in his adulthood, when he realizes this is preventing me from connecting from adult to adult, this is preventing me from getting what I really want in life, right? So thank you, belief, for taking care of me when I was 8 years old, but now it's time for me to sit you aside. Then once you do that, I have the ability to then make a different choice, right? What is the belief that best serves me? Then once I can identify that, I can work on, which is why we call this men's work and not men's play, right? I can work on integrating that into my being, right? I have to first know what it is. What's the belief that I need to set aside, and what's the belief that I need to change it to? And then do the work that gets me past the resistance, that gets me past the fear, because that fear ain't just going to go away just because I'm saying it up here. I have to work on that fear. I have to try. I have to create those SMART goals and get those little wins so that at the end of the day, I can really try on this new belief that's not limiting, but is actually helping me produce that part of me that I really want to be. And that's ultimately what we all want, bro. If we really boil it all down, is if I close my eyes and wish for something, I want to show up in the world as the man that I really want to be. Not what I grew up as and messages I took on and all of these different things, but really as the one I want to be. If I was the architect of this and I was drawing it out, that's how I want to show up, bro. So thank you for the question, man. And that thing on beliefs goes super hard, bro.
Yeah, my favorite definition. If I were to define what is a belief, you guys familiar with Abraham Hicks? You guys know Abraham Hicks? Jermaine, you ever hear of Abraham Hicks?
Mm-mm.
Spiritual teacher, let's just put it at that. And they say a belief is simply a thought you think over and over again. Think about that for a minute. A belief is simply a thought that you think over and over again. And so we have to be willing to interrupt that thought to change the belief. And as you alluded to earlier, we must first become aware of what that is before we can change it. And that's what this work is about. It's about changing what we think. Because for me, my belief is that what you think about, you bring about. And when you start thinking about abundance, for example, a lot of us were taught money is the root of all evil. Money is bad. rich people are stuck up, and all these beliefs that we held on to. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? We hear all these beliefs at a very early age, which sets the stage for our belief about money. And again, I was brought up on the inner city projects of Corpus Christi, Texas, to a single mom with 6 kids, and we were basically the poster children for poverty back in the 60s. But my mom did not allow me to have a poverty mindset. My mom told me when I was about 10 years old, I'll never forget, she says, Michael, if you want something badly enough, no one or no thing can keep you from attaining it except yourself. The most powerful lesson I've ever learned from my mom. She didn't allow me to buy into that poverty mindset. So I had a belief at that age that if I wanted something badly enough, nobody could stop me except me. And I've held on to that belief since I was about 10.
Dope, bro. You see Reverend Sims. Reverend Sims said right in the middle of that word is the word lie. In the middle of belief, right? So I put a little challenge in for him. I said, say more about the lie. It also has the word be in the beginning, right? So which one are we focusing on? So I'm putting out a little challenge to the Reverend.
Be, baby. It's all about being.
Yep. Be. It's interesting because like lie, but it's LIEF. Be life. Like I don't know, I'm always looking at words and like what their origins are. So it's very interesting to see. Going to bed? It's a wrap. Yeah, it's bedtime for these cats. Bedtime? Yeah. I see you, man. Digging the cardigan. Rocking it, Carter. Yeah, this is a very interesting topic, man, because I judge that most of us fail to talk about these kind of things like belief, because this came up today actually in another conversation, that same conversation I was referring before. And I think it has something. I think it plays in with the abundance piece, where this man I was talking to says, "I'm going to give it over to God," and I challenged him. I was like, "That's lazy." So do you hang out? Do you stay and just sit in your chair and wait for God to bring you what you want, or are you being in action? And it was a really interesting conversation because I hear it so much in the community, like, give it to God, or I'm going to put it in God's hands. And I think it's really to even say that, it's like to be in action is an expression of God. To be in action is an expression of abundance. To be doing something on purpose or something that you're inspired by is abundance, because it is something divine. It's a vibration, it's a frequency. Yet, I'm happy that we're having this conversation, because I think, again, most people, especially in our communities, fail to talk about what this even means for us, man. And it was a question that they had yesterday, is like, what abundance do you have that you're failing to share with the world? And I'm like, dang, man, like that was what I was telling Jermaine that got me. I was just like, I've been thinking about that since yesterday. It's like, what are the things that I have in abundance that I'm not sharing? So it's a strong question to really think of.
And Paul, I think you hit on a really, really, really important piece, especially in the Black community, because collectively, and again, this is Michael Taylor's stuff. Collectively, what has, shall I say, allowed us to deal collectively as a group, what has allowed us to deal with all the atrocities that we've dealt with was God. Now, religion sort of was the lifeblood, because we didn't have anything else. So what did we do? We held on to God as our source. And it can lead us to what's called spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing is when we rationalize spirituality without really doing our work. And let me explain what I mean. So, as a former atheist, I was completely convinced that there was no such thing as God for a long time. Then I went on my own journey. And then I found the New Age movement. If you guys are familiar with the New Age movement, slightly different from the New Thought movement, but New Age movement was basically saying that God is the universe. Let's just sum it up that way. And that really resonated for me. And so when I got involved with the New Age movement and I embraced this idea that the universe, God, is perfect and everything is perfect. Well, see, there is such a thing as toxic positivity. And here's what I mean. When I got in the New Age movement, I rationalized everything, saying everything is good, the universe is perfect, and yet I was in complete denial of how I really, really felt. I was hiding behind spirituality and not dealing with the real pain, the shame that I mentioned earlier. And it wasn't until I did that inner work, that John Bradshaw work that I talked about, that I got out from behind that spiritual mask that I was wearing. Because again, I rationalized everything that, and I'm a member of Unity Church, and their doxology says that there's but one presence and one power in the universe, God, the good, omnipotent. That's the foundation of their beliefs, which I believe wholeheartedly. But when I rationalized that, I denied myself the experience of feeling the pain, the shame that I was talking about. And it wasn't until I did that inner healing work that I could authentically connect spiritually. Because I no longer was stuck in my head about trying to figure out and rationalize God. I got into a place where it was a feeling. It was a connection to something bigger than myself. And that to me is where true abundance comes from. It comes from me recognizing that I am connected to all of it. Okay. And I have the power, the capacity to bring whatever I need to me, which is part of the New Thought movement. But again, I rationalized a long time this whole idea of God without dealing with my emotional stuff. And it wasn't until I healed that part of myself that I could authentically feel connected to Source.
That's up, Coach.
Reverend Sims jumping in again. Yeah, so Andrew, I love how he set it off with the sometimes our trauma, drama, shame, and blame blinds us so deeply we cannot see nor hear. Alternatively, we will turn to ideas that reinforce what we are conditioned to think, right?
That's what I did.
So, you know, the way that I responded to that, which I completely get it, right? And the piece I put in is the personal responsibility. So when I am afraid to change, I create the stories that reinforce the idea I want to hold on to, right? And this happens, bro. Oh, man, listen. One of the things that come up for me is the idea that we as Black people, and I'll speak in I statement with this, for a lot of my life, my reason for failure was always the man got his foot on my neck, right? So if I start a business, it fails, man, these white people did this, you know, I'm in my victim all day long, right? And so I needed that because the reality of my failure was too much for me to handle. So I create these stories. You know, they didn't give me a license because I was Black, you know, or that deal didn't go through because the dude was racist. Right? That's a really good example of how I can reinforce with stories I make up an idea that I want to hold on to. Because ultimately what it comes down to is what we were just talking about. That coach was saying, you know, I'm not good enough, right? So if I say to myself, damn, I really failed, I really messed that deal up, right? I could go into that shame place. Man, you ain't shit, bro. You don't know what you doing, man. You ain't built for this. You're not smart enough for this. You ain't good enough to have this, right? So in order for me to live there, bro, I have to have the stories that reinforce that belief. So then I go on creating those stories. In the work, what we do when we're doing process work or we're sharing with each other, right? The very first thing we do is we ask the men to separate in their experience, verbally say it, separate the judgments from the feelings, from the data, from the real factual information. And it's amazing what happens when that happens, bro. Oh, man. Because what'll happen is I'll start talking. Coach will ask me to separate it, and I'll go, man, I think Paul said that because, he was trying to play me or he thinks I ain't shit. No, bro, that's a judgment. That's not fact. What's the fact? And we redirect them, right? And what ends up happening once we get to feelings, bro, is we've separated the data, the factual information, right? Which in this case would be Paul said something to me about my shirt. That's the facts, right? The judgment was that he was trying to play me. He thinks I'm less than, he's this and he's that. Well, what are my judgments about a person who would do that? Ooh, we start getting deep in there, bro. That starts really touching them. And then we get to the feelings. What does it make you feel like? And we invite the man to claim what the feeling is. We've already got the facts. We got the judgments out. What are the feelings? And as soon as we do that, bro, we drop into the body and something really magical happens, right?
True words. Yep.
Yeah, the charges, the feelings, the stories begin to dwindle down. And we get to the really rock bottom granite of the situation, right? And the bottom line is I'm really close to Paul, and what he said hurt my feelings, and it makes me sad. Mic drop, right? Now, here's the thing. The beautiful thing about being in that space is I get to say that to Paul. He gets to hear me say it. And then we get to reconcile it in a very clean, mature, great way. So now, 2 weeks from now, when I'm in an experience with Paul, I'm not thinking about the time he tried to play me because he said something about my shirt. Now the relationship is clean, bro, right? I don't have to create them stories that reinforce the craziness, which in the bigger picture piece of it is just destroying me and Paul's relationship. And the funny part about it is he has no idea that it's going on. Mm-hmm. This is all going on in my head, bro.
True words, bro.
Yeah. Deep.
So all I have to say is let me give my man Jermaine Johnson some flowers right now, because he is a master. I've watched this brother do this work, man, and I was like, damn, I was blown away at your ability, Jermaine, to get men to move to that place, to separate the data from the. You the man, boy. I tell you, you are a master at that.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Blessings,
bro. All right. So Ralph says, if a person or a thing is a lie, it definitely has a beginning. If it goes on, it is a part of that person for their. Oh, I like how he did this right here, P. You see how he spelled life?
Yep.
Lifetime. Just a thought. That ain't no typo, bro.
Nope. He sees it. He sees it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, bro. Man. Good stuff.
Checking in with you, man, too. Any other questions for the viewers of the live about what we've talked about? Comments?
Well, I want to shoot a shout out to Mr. Andrew out there. And his piece about sometimes our trauma, drama, shame, and blame blinds us so deeply we cannot see nor hear. And that is fact. That's the challenge. Our trauma, that pain that we carrying around, it takes effort. It takes awareness. It takes work. And that's why we call it work, to be able to move past the trauma, the drama, the shame, and all of that. But what I can say with absolute certainty, on the other side of that is joy.
I see. I see. Bless up, man. Bless up. So, man, we're at the hour mark. Any last thoughts, comments? I mean, like, this was rich, man. It really came around, really started talking about belief. And it really stems to a lot to different facets and different areas of life, really. But
Yeah,
like any last words, man, before we
yeah.
start wrapping up?
I'd like to leave. First, you know, oftentimes I think it's more powerful to leave with questions than comments, right? And some of you men who've been in circle with me, y'all know what I mean when we checking out, and I'll leave you with those pondering questions. So here's some of the questions that I want to leave um, for men to ponder, for people to ponder as they go. Number one, what does abundance really mean to you, really? Like when I take a deep breath and I sit in that space, what does it mean? Right? Secondly, am I sharing that abundance in a way that keeps me in integrity with the person I want to be? Right? And if I'm not, what would need to happen for me to be able to share that abundance fully, right? And from a selfish place too, not that place that says, oh, if I give P a Christmas gift, he's gonna get me one, not that, but that real selfless giving to be giving simply because I'm in abundance, right? And the invitation is, yes, abundance is typically used in our society to mean money, to mean things, like Coach was saying. But I invite you to go deeper, bro. Just deeper. In abundance, that could be skill set, that could be feeling, that could be a wisdom that's not widely known. It's all of those things. So just ponder that and really feel into what that means for you, you know? And I'm out with that, bro. Thank you for this call, man. This was real.
Bless up, King. Thank you for that, Coach.
Yeah, so I want to close with Andrew's question. So he says, is it fair to say that men's work is a journey to joy? And I say absolutely. I say what we're hungry for, what we long for is joy. Beneath all the other stuff, ultimately everything we do to experience a feeling. In most cases, we're doing it to experience a feeling that feels good. Nobody does anything intentionally to feel bad. What we do is we have different ways of feeling good. But ultimately, Andrew, I say yes. And I say that because I experienced life's ultimate paradox when I was absolutely broke, living in an apartment with no electricity. The only thing that I owned was an air mattress, and it wasn't even mine. And I'm sitting in my apartment in August in Houston. It's 9,000 degrees. I'm sweaty. I'm funky. It was terrible. But I experienced life's ultimate paradox, which was I realized that in that moment, I had absolutely nothing, but absolutely everything at the same time. And it was joy. And when I had that realization, I realized that I didn't have the stuff out there, but I had everything in here. And it was a sense of wholeness, completeness, and joy. And ultimately, I think that's what we all long for. And that's what men's work guides us to. And I'm out.
Bless up, Coach. You mean, I like what you said there. The journey's personal. What are you doing men's work for? And that's the reflection. Like, what are you doing men's work for? What is your sense of belief? What does that mean, man? Like, this is, listen, we're here. One of the things I appreciate about what we do, man, is in the BKC, is it's never about do it this way. We are this if you're looking for someone to tell you what to do, then this is most likely not the space for you. If you're looking for a group of men of color that want to support you and help you guide yourself to your own, to the answers to your own questions, to your answers to these things that we're posing to you, then this is the space, because you have your answer. It's your answer. It's time for you it's time for you to really settle into what these things mean for you, because that's going to dictate life for you. So bless up. Listen, any questions that you have, if you're watching this on the replay, type in replay in the comments. Bless up. Hold on. We got Ralph Sims with one last comment here. While we have the difference between spirituality and religion, a desire to be at peace with self, others, and my environment. Set of rules that I fail to do most of the time. Okay, man. Bless up, bro. Oh, man, difference between spirituality and religion. Wow. The desire to be at peace with self. So I'm curious, which one was spirituality? Which, I guess I'm thinking that the desire to be at peace with self, others in my environment, was the spirituality. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And then religion is a set of rules that I fail to do most of the time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, bro. I got it.
Yeah. Bless up, Ralph Sims. The Reverend. And listen, you like this call? You like what we're doing on here? Then tap into the Brotherhood of Kings. You see the link below. You see it. And this is the Brotherhood of Kings Collective. Go to this website. We have a call on Saturdays, and beginning on Wednesday, November 22nd, we're going to have another call, Wisdom Wednesdays, on Wednesday in another circle. It's another space for you to grow and learn. On that first Wednesday out, we're going to be talking about how to manage family conflicts, how to move and maneuver through the holiday. I'm looking forward to that, because I can use some wisdom on that with some of my family members. They get on my damn nerves. I love them though, but I'm looking forward to getting some wisdom on that, man. Let's go. So listen, tap in again. Check the website. The link, everything that you need is on there. It's going to tell you when it's going to give you access to the call. It's also, if you have yet to get the newsletter, get the newsletter. If you want to tap into our WhatsApp group, because we got conversation popping in that junk every day, multiple times. The link is also on the site, so you can get all the goodness that you have. Religion is what you make it. Sue Gracer, Sue Gracer. Side Gracer, I'll say religion is what you make it. Yo, man, we may have to have a conversation on religion, man.
Yeah.
We may have to have a real a combo on religion, man, because I think, Coach is in.
Let's go.
Coach is ready. Coach is ready. Coach is ready. Yeah, I think it's definitely time for us to talk about that, because especially in our community, it's something that a lot of people care about, man. And some are all in, some are all out. So I think it's a time where we start to talk about that, because it's important. So
I'll be glad to lead that one.
Yo, listen, man, Coach, go ahead now. We have to have a separate topic be different than the Saturday call, man. Let's go.
What if Jesus were a coach?
Yo, you know what? Yo, Coach, what's up, man? You want to lead that piece? What's up? We can rock that next week, bro.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Okay. Let's go with
Absolutely.
it, man. Let's go with it. So you heard it here. Listen, that's what we're going to rock in next week. We're going to make the commitment. Saturday's calls is going to be something different. But next week, we're going to talk. We're going to chop it up. What if Jesus were a coach? Let's look at religion, man. Coach Taylor's going to be leading this. This brother's talking in churches and all over the place, bro. Come on, man. This dude's famous. Get his autograph next time you see him. Yeah, I said it. All right, everybody.
Let's do it, guys. All right.
You got it. Peace, everybody. Peace.